Hello and good evening, and apologies for the delay tonight. I know the email from Sabrina actually said 6 o'clock, and I came on the webinar site at 6 o'clock to find that another group were already on from level 4. So apologies for anybody who's been waiting the last half an hour to join us. I do apologise for that delay. So good evening and welcome. You are listening to a webinar for National Schools Training. Today we will be going through important points regarding Module 1 for Unit 2 for the Level 5 ILM Diploma in School Business Management. The session will start with a test of your connections. During the session, please feel free to ask any questions or raise any matters. Alternatively, you may want to write them down and ask at the end. Questions may be on Unit 2 or any other course matter. As with the introduction to this unit, I'm going to tonight unmute everyone so that you can just add in any questions at any time. Feel free to either put your hand up or just ask a question as we go along. Hopefully we won't be affected by any feedback. It seemed to work in the introduction webinar, so we'll see how we get on tonight. Can you all hear me? Can anybody put up a hand if they're having issues with being able to hear tonight? I'm just going to, the unmute all does not seem to be working. You should all be able to, can you all hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Brilliant. So during this webinar, it would be great if anyone wants to add in any topics as discussions. As I say, we'll keep everyone unmuted as we go along, and if we do start getting feedback problems, then let me know if anyone's experiencing issues, and we can maybe address those as we go along. So understanding and analysing teams. During this webinar, we're going to explore some of the literature research on understanding and analysing teams in the areas of development, team roles and membership. This will enable us to establish key concepts. Some of the research referred to you will be able to find within the unit resource folder for this unit. Other research is points of interest and concepts that I have found from my own reading, either independently or as part of my previous academic learning. So if we start with the website managementstudyguide.com, they actually state that teams are becoming a key tool for organising work in today's corporate world. Teams have the potential to immediately amass, organise, relocate and disperse, but teams are an effective tool of employee motivation. It is essential to consider the fact that teams develop and get mature over a period of time. Team development creates a captivating atmosphere by encouraging cooperation, teamwork, interdependence, and by building trust among team members. The importance of emotionally intelligent teams in your resource folder states that to understand a team, you will need to look at the habits that drive the team behaviour. Examples I have come across in school and other organisations is statements such as, "We have always done it this way," or "We are only the admin staff, what do we know?" Therefore, as leaders, we need to understand our teams and explore the reasoning behind these habits and behaviours. In other words, we need to analyse the teams. To understand teams, we need to look at the need for them. All organisations involve humans, and socially we tend to live and work in groups. We identify with the team and like to feel part of it, a team member. So what sort of teams are you a team member or a leader of in school? Would anybody like to share? Are you part of the SLT? Do you run teams yourself? Do the majority run teams and lead them?
I'd say I'm part of the admin team, and I suppose nominally I'm running it, but actually I'd say it was much more of a sort of democratic group. We sort of all have our own particular areas to work at, and we sort of mostly get on with our own tasks without too much delegation or anything like that, really.
Right, and is there sort of a crossover between the roles, or is it quite easily split between one person does sort of pupil records, another person might be doing finance and such like?
Yeah, it's fairly well defined. We've got one person who does pupil records, admissions, dinner money, that kind of thing. I do most of the invoicing and the budgeting and that kind of premises and health and safety and that side of things. And then we've got a part-time member who does sort of ordering and just general sort of office type, general admin, reception type stuff.
Right, and do you manage that team?
I mean, yes, nominally, but they're all pretty good at what they do. They don't need very much guidance or direction. Just occasionally sort of making sure that they're happy and getting on with what they need.
Right, okay. And performance management, are you responsible for their training needs or such like? Would you address that?
Yes, probably.
Hmm.
No, I haven't been there long enough to actually do any performance management for them yet, but I suspect that I need to look at that.
Okay then. So it seems to be working quite well because they're all high performing and they know what they have to do and get on with it, which is great until obviously there's an someone's absent and such like.
That's the issue we had last term. So yeah, that's a real crisis point. So it was really difficult to manage that.
Right, okay then. So in understanding teams, you may want to look at Handy 1993 to investigate team functions, which will help you to decide the purpose of the team that you will analyse in your assignment. Handy establishes two categories, the need to look at the functional role of teams, that is getting a job done, and the engagement and involvement of individuals, that is making staff perform at the best level achievable to meet the vision of the school. The first step to team effectiveness is to understand and define it as a team. If your team lacks a common purpose, agreed procedures, commitment, cooperation and resilience, then there is a good chance that you will not reach your vision as a manager. In defining a team from a working group, we need to ask ourselves if these objectives are reached, and if not applicable, then perhaps there is a need to redefine or treat it more as an informal group. In researching the concept of forming an effective team, you will want to refer to the wisdom of teams within your resource folder. As leaders, we know for our school to be effective we need good teams, but first we do need to understand their function and decide on the performance standards that we expect from our teams. We need to coach and develop members to overcome challenges and learn to sustain and build on improvements. In forming teams, we have a tendency to want to surround ourselves with people who are just like us. In case you get to choose a team instead of organising a pre-formed team, then you'll look for a team of people with a variety of strengths. In case of a team that is already in place, organising can be more subtle and take a longer length of time. It is always important to discuss what goals you want to accomplish and how everybody can work towards them. You will also find that imposing goals on people doesn't work nearly as well as having them tell you as to what goals they will strive for. It's a bit like looking into if someone in conflict management, they always recommend that if someone comes to you with an issue or a conflict, that you should actually ask them the question, what is the resolution to this problem? In the same way with teams, it's very good to obviously have that collaboration so that you can strive towards joint goals and set goals. Setting goals is not easy work. Be careful that they do not end up too unrealistic, too vague, impossible to measure, or just stretching into eternity without any deadline. But with regards to team effectiveness, there is an activity, which is 1.2 on page 13 of Module 1, which I feel would be valuable for you to undertake regarding the team that you will be referring to in your assignment. You can use the activity for your choice of team. When you carry out the activity, do remember to write down your reflections at the time, which can also then be referred to in your assignment and attached as an appendix for evidence. One very important stage at understanding and analysing your team is the team development, and I'm sure we've all come across previously the Tuckman model. As team leaders, we need to juggle the three main areas of completing a task: managing the team and managing individuals. A famous model within team development is the Tuckman model of forming, storming, norming and performing, and you can also refer to businessballs.com. On there, the Tuckman model explains that as the team develops, maturity and ability, relationships establish, and the leader changes leadership style. Beginning with a directing style, moving through coaching, then participating, finishing with delegating and an almost detached stance. At this point, the team may produce a successor leader, and the previous leader can move on to develop a new team. Tuckman is simply highlighting that all teams will most likely go through these development stages. How long they stay at each stage and any detrimental effect of the stage is much directed by the team leader. We all know of teams that have been set up which have then been disbanded without achieving its original purpose. This can often be attributed to the team staying and ending in the storming stage. It is also a model which will help us to decide on the most appropriate leadership style. Although a concept from over 50 years ago, this model is still relevant. You will find, as I say, further information in your module and resource documents and via businessballs.com. So, I mean, it sounds in some ways that the lady that was speaking previously was saying about how she's actually new as the manager to the team. So in some ways, although most of the team members are performing, they are actually going through the stage one forming stage with a new person coming into the team. Can anybody identify any of these stages in their teams and share with the group tonight? Perhaps a performing team has gone back to the forming stage due to a member of staff leaving and relationships having to be re-established. Has anyone experienced that, whether in their school that they work at now or it might have been in a previous organisation?
Well, I'm part of the small team of 2, and we've just taken on another lady in the office part-time, so yeah, it has altered it a little bit in that we both knew what we were doing, and now there's another person to involve in that. So yes, it has gone back to more forming.
Yeah, and I mean, like they say, it's establishing those relationships, isn't it? And so there were 2, did you say? Sorry, and you've gone into 3 people in the office.
Yes, yes. There is another admin lady as well, but she's at another site, so it doesn't affect the team as much.
Right, I see. So in some ways, you have gone back to that forming stage, and there might be sort of stormy times ahead until you get into this is routine now, and everybody knows what they're doing again and what the goals are and their aims, and what procedures they need to follow. It is quite interesting when you read into it more, you know, obviously via the resource folder, you can identify, and as I say, some teams might barely go to stage 2, and other teams really do suffer at stage 2 with regards to reaching their aims. So it's quite good to observe around an organisation, but also in the teams that you either lead or work in. So that's good, thank you for that. You can also refer to the Ignite newsletter in your resources, which provides information on the stages each and every team will go through until they reach high performance. It is recognised that the amount of time that teams will spend at each stage is variable, and it's suggested that this is down to productivity and morale. Productivity covers the targets, role, team member skills, and morale includes confidence and sense of purpose. Module 1 then will take you on to situational team development. As part of analysing the team, you will need to refer to the leadership, and this will include task behaviour and situational leadership behaviour. You will refer to the Hersey and Blanchard situational leadership model in Teamwork 1969. Again, this model can be seen as stages in that on forming, the leader will instruct the team members on the task or purpose. At the storming stage, the leader may need to sell the team, that is, bring in more behaviour and emotional skills, transferring ownership and making members feel that they want success. To move into the norming stage, where the leader participates and decision making is shared, resulting in the performing stage, where the leader can delegate and monitors progress, such as distributed leadership. This can be often reflected within a school with the head teacher who leads the senior leadership team. When the senior leaders are in post and confident and performing in their posts, the head teacher can almost take a backstep role and just be there for reference purposes. However, when a new member comes on the senior leadership team, the head teacher might then have to step back into the first stages and start to actually direct the team again until all team members are confident in who is doing what and the roles again, and every member is performing. Team roles. It is important to define team roles and responsibilities so that everyone involved is aware of expectations placed upon them, others in the team, and the team overall. Again, managementstudyguide.com asks question, what is a team? So they answer it with, a team is a group of individuals all working together for a common purpose. The individuals comprising a team ideally should have common goals, common objectives, and more or less think on the same lines. Individuals who are not compatible with each other can never form a team, is what they argue. They should have similar, if not the same interests, thought processes, attitude, perception, and likings. Do be aware that when you look at Module 1, there are differences between groups, working groups, and teams. A group is not necessarily a team. A group can have individuals with varied interests, attitude, as well as thought processes. It is not necessary that the group members would have a common objective or a common goal to achieve. One example given is that a group happens in a political rally. The political leader appeals individuals in the group to cast the votes in his favour only. But not all of them will cast the votes in favour of the leader. There will always be some individuals who would support his opponent. This is example of a group. All individuals gathered on a common platform but have dissimilar interests and likings, some in favour of the leader while some against. A team must have individuals with a common objective to achieve. They should all work together and strive towards the achievement of a common goal. Another example is what happens in a cricket team. All the players have a common focus and a common objective. Everyone, the captain, the wicketkeeper, the bowlers, the fielders, all work together to achieve a common target. That is, win the game. No one ever thinks of losing the game. Therefore, the team members must complement each other. All team members should help each other and work in unison. Personal interests must take a back seat, and all of them must deliver their level best to achieve the team objective. Team members must not argue among themselves or underestimate the other member. Organisations have a sales team, admin team, human resources team, operation team, and so on. All the members of the sales team would work together to achieve the sales target and generate revenues for the organisation. The members of the school admin team, although they have their different roles, they have the objective of providing administration support for the school and for the operational running of the school and to develop and improve the school. The team size depends on the complexity of the task to be accomplished. Ideally, a team should consist of 7 to 10 members. Too many members also lead to confusions and misunderstandings. It is not always that we require a team. Teams should be formed when the task is a little complicated. A single brain can sometimes not take all critical decisions alone. Thus, a team is formed where the team members contribute equally, making the task easy. A team can actually create wonders if all the team members work in unison. And I think it is that issue of working in unison that we've all come across that then raises the conflicts within team. And you'll find that Module 2, leading teams, actually then takes you into concepts such as fierce conversations. You will also, as part of Module 1, consider team culture in risk-taking or risk-avoiding. The risk approach is determined by the culture of the team. The risk referred to with teams is not the same as a risk factor to be considered within a financial or health and safety terms. Within this arena, there is a need to minimise risk so to avoid loss of money or harm to stakeholders. Within teams, risk avoiding is the team which has a leader who is controlling, there are fixed attitudes, and concern is always expressed for new ideas. On the other hand, risk-taking teams focus on opportunities, initiative is taken, the focus is on the needs of the stakeholders, and new ideas are explored. There is the environment to think outside the box. The culture of the team may be driven by the equal distribution and variety of roles which are needed for a team to perform to its full potential. Belbin, 1993, provides a list of team roles, and there is a need to identify each team member in the context of a role. The reason for this is to avoid too many of one role. For example, too many monitors will result in an overwhelming lack of drive and ability to inspire, with a lot of criticism and negativity. Belbin proposes that the ideal team includes an innovator, a coordinator or shaper, a monitor/evaluator, a specialist, which will be dependent on the task, and one of the following: a team worker, a resource investigator, a completer/finisher, or an implementer. This then links into Unit 1 with managing meetings, in that once the team is formed, there will be a need to structure meetings so that these roles are equally played out and actions agreed are recorded formally. It also links into the leadership and development stage for the team, in that the leader will need to literally lead the meeting at the start, and as the team develops, the leader can almost take a step back. So to summarise tonight's webinar, we can conclude that in analysing and understanding your team, you need to decide the development stage of your team and give reason why you have come to this conclusion. Look at the setup of the team, its role, analyse the culture and the individuals who make up the team and their individual role. Decide on the team which you want to analyse, and this will be the core of your work and assessment for Unit 2. You need to then plan out your course of action and submit this plan to me around the 20th of May. If you are struggling, then please contact me. Now, with regards to the 20th of May, we have got a group tutorial planned for the 19th of May. I was actually considering bringing that forward to Tuesday the 17th of May at 6 o'clock. Would that be, is that a good time for, will those people that have attended tonight be able to make 6 o'clock on Tuesday instead of the 6:30 on Thursday?
That would be fine for me. Yeah.
Right, okay. I just thought then, if you've had a look at Module 1 and have a look in the handbook for the assessment criteria and sort of writing up the first part of the assessment, we can then go over that on Tuesday, and it still gives you a few days. The 20th is next Friday. To be honest, that's only a week to actually having a look at the module, so don't worry too much about that deadline of the 20th of May. I'm quite happy if that extends a few more days, maybe after next weekend. I would anticipate more the plans to start coming through around Sunday, Monday, the sort of 22nd, 23rd of May. Obviously, if you have got it done by then, prior to that, that's great, get it into me, but there won't be any penalty points if you don't reach the 20th of May deadline. But I will send out a notification to Sabrina to ask her to change that group tutorial then to Tuesday, and then that just gives a few more days as well to then start thinking about the planning form. Again, it's only something that you will then insert into your assignment as an appendix to draw on within your actual report that you're going to write. So as with your action plan in Unit 1, you don't have to worry about it being reams and reams. It really is to just start getting you focused on what team you're going to have a look at and sort of focus on within Unit 2. So obviously, again, you're going to now go forward and read the resources in the folder, maintain a reflection log of your learning, record your considerations and reasons and the outcomes, as this will be useful guidance as you refer to areas for development throughout the whole course. Are there any questions from tonight?
No.
Is everybody feeling confident to now go forward, have a read through Module 1 and sort of start getting their thoughts together maybe in draft form, and then we can go over that learner planning template on Tuesday, and as I say, then that gives you a few days to put it together and submit it to me. Okay then, so no further questions from anyone. I can't see any raised hands. So if everyone's happy with that, tonight. Good night. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully the sunshine's going to come back. I don't think the weather forecast does say that, but we can live in hope, can't we? And have a great weekend, and thank you for joining me tonight. Good night.
You
Night.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.